Queen Elizabeth II was the monarch who defined an era, revered by millions and criticized by others. Born to rule, her life was a constant game of power and control over the entire planet Earth. While her impeccable image reigned in every corner of the world and her word seemed unbreakable, a darkness began to surround her legacy. From family scandals and the of Princess Diana to her closest alliances. Today we will uncover the secrets of the Queen that you will never see in history books. Sitting on her golden throne, she took her greatest secret to the grave, her true identity. Get ready to delve into the life of a monarch who, behind the crown, held mysteries even Buckingham Palace could not contain. The responsibility imposed on her as a child, at just 10 years old, and overnight, she was told she would be next in a line of kings spanning centuries. Not by choice, but because destiny had decided. This was how Elizabeth spent her childhood. Her youth was abruptly interrupted when her father became king. Suddenly, Elizabeth was no longer just a child but the future queen, with the weight of a nation on her shoulders. A burden she could never put down. Handling the tragedy of Lady Di. If there is one dark moment in the Queen's life the world will never forget, it was the death of Princess Diana. The people's princess had become the great rebel of the monarchy. And her tragic end shook the entire world. However, Elizabeth did not act. For days, the world awaited a statement from the Queen. But she remained silent. People could not understand how someone so powerful could remain so indifferent to such a profound tragedy. Since marrying Prince Charles, Diana had been a problem for the royal family. Her emotional outbursts, her closeness to the people, and her sensitivity went against the cold and controlled image Queen Elizabeth had imposed for decades. But it was the scandalous divorce with Charles and her relationship with Egyptian millionaire Dodi Al-Fayed that set off all the alarms at Buckingham Palace. That fateful night in Paris, Diana and Dodi tried to escape paparazzi in a car speeding through the streets. But what many do not know is that the route was suggested by someone they trusted, a plan orchestrated from the shadows, with drivers and motorcyclists in Paris knowing exactly what to do. Minutes before the crash, security cameras in the tunnel mysteriously stopped working. This was a premeditated maneuver, an accident meticulously planned. Queen Elizabeth was watching, bringing an end to Diana's story. The collision was brutal. Diana was taken to a hospital, but ironically, she did not die in the ambulance, but rather due to a decision that delayed efforts to save her life. Before her tragic accident, Diana had discovered devastating information about the royal family. Details that, if made public, would have destroyed the monarchy's reputation. Upon learning this, Queen Elizabeth issued a silence order, ensuring that everything Diana knew would be buried. After Diana's death, something even stranger happened. Queen Elizabeth's absolute silence. While the world mourned the people's princess, the Queen remained at Balmoral, far from public attention and seemingly calm. This silence was interpreted by many as indifference, or perhaps confirmation of a secret that could not be revealed. When she finally appeared, the Queen seemed distant and calculating, almost as if she were protecting something larger than the monarchy's reputation. Her reaction was proof of a quiet conscience and an intention behind the tragic accident. Her relationship with controversial regimes. During her reign, Elizabeth was criticized for her closeness to certain questionable leaders and regimes. From state dinners with dictators to granting honors to leaders accused of human rights violations. The Queen was often criticized for not distancing herself enough from these figures. Her diplomacy kept her throne safe, but at the cost of her moral integrity. Over the years, Her silence regarding these leaders raised doubts about the values of the monarchy and the relationship between power and ethics. The most intriguing and questionable ties Queen Elizabeth maintained were with authoritarian regime leaders. It is known that on several occasions, the Queen received rulers with questionable human rights records at Buckingham Palace. These were not mere diplomatic visits, but meetings filled with formalities, banquets, and collaboration agreements. Her true identity, the monarch who reigned for 7 decades, had a secret so dark it challenges our perception of reality. Some believe the British monarchy, along with other powerful families, descends from a lineage of extraterrestrial beings known as reptilians. The reptilians are a race of aliens capable of shape-shifting, infiltrating the world's power structures, and hiding in plain sight to manipulate humanity. And who better to control an empire from the shadows of her throne than Queen Elizabeth herself? For many, Queen Elizabeth always had an enigmatic presence, with a gaze that at times seemed colder and more calculating than usual. Some royal aides and officials claim to have witnessed strange behavior. At certain receptions and events, they said, the Queen would stare intensely at people, making everyone uncomfortable, as if she were analyzing far beyond what any human could perceive. But the matter goes even further. It is said that during private events, some have seen Elizabeth blink in a non-human way, revealing vertical pupils like those of a reptile. Similarly, some people reported seeing her eyes change color, displaying a deep, almost reptilian green. Several Buckingham Palace staff and attendees at private events have shared unsettling stories. Locked doors, private meetings where guards ensured no one saw too much. On more than one occasion, some claim to have witnessed fleeting transformations. One anonymous witness recounted how, during an event where the Queen was alone in a room, they noticed through the door that her skin changed texture, becoming scaly, and that her hands, for a brief moment, appeared to take the shape of claws. Another witness stated that during a blackout at an event in London, they saw a shadow moving at great speed across the ceiling, resembling a reptilian creature. These stories, though scandalous, have survived through time, always with consistent details: scales, claws, and inhuman speed. Several employees and witnesses who claim to have seen strange things related to Queen Elizabeth curiously disappeared or resigned under mysterious circumstances, offering few explanations. Some former employees were sent abroad, while others simply vanished from public life. A journalist who was about to publish a book about the royal family and reptilian sightings died in a car accident shortly before the publication. Once again, the same systematic cleaning mechanism. Additionally, the Windsor family jealously protects their blue blood to avoid diluting their reptilian characteristics. The Windsors secretly conduct DNA studies, ensuring that no normal member enters their lineage. This explains some alliances and family scandals. They were not driven by politics, but by the goals of a superior alien race, seeking to maintain control over humanity. Moreover, the coronation rituals, the mysticism behind royal ceremonies, and the hidden symbolism in the palace's architecture are all part of a theater designed to strengthen the reptilians' control over the world and to present themselves as more human than ever. In fact, the Tower of London, known for its history of prisoners and executions, was also the stage for dark rituals. There, Queen Elizabeth performed mysterious midnight ceremonies in those very towers. Rituals passed down through generations. It is said that the Queen followed ancient practices intended to reinforce her connection to her ancestors and protect her identity and power on the throne. The Club of 12. Secret alliances with the global elite. The 12 are a supreme group of leaders who decide the course of nations, the fate of markets, and the darkest secrets of humanity. For decades, this circle has controlled global events and its members are chosen not only for their influence, but for their connections and willingness to guard dark secrets. From her earliest days on the throne, Queen Elizabeth was part of a hidden group known as the Club of 12, a secret society composed of leaders and power figures from around the world. These 12 chosen ones made decisions in the shadows, manipulating conflicts, altering economies, and determining the destinies of entire nations. Elizabeth was not just a monarch. She was the guardian of a power that even prime ministers could not fathom. Her role in this organization was not that of a simple head of state, but that of a global strategist, capable of influencing decisions that affected not only the United Kingdom, but every corner of the planet. When Queen Elizabeth ascended to the throne in 1952, she not only inherited the crown, but also the right and responsibility to belong to the Club of 12. During her coronation, a hidden event took place in the depths of Buckingham Palace. A secret ceremony that, far from the public pomp and splendor, marked the beginning of her double life, Elizabeth the Queen and Elizabeth the Conspirator. An unbreakable alliance sealed with rituals of power and pacts that no one outside the group could understand. Throughout her reign, Elizabeth maintained an image of political neutrality, but that neutrality was merely a mask. Behind the decisions of many wars, she was pulling the strings. Alliances and the downfall of governments. She influenced crucial decisions in moments like the Cold War, conflicts in the Middle East, and policies that shaped Europe's future. In the life of a monarch, power and responsibility do not always allow for just actions. Queen Elizabeth II witnessed times of change, crisis, and controversy, and although her image was always that of a calm and steadfast sovereign, the scandals surrounding her reminded the world that even in royalty, perfection is just an illusion. In times when distrust of elites is at its peak, we find that the theory of her true reptilian identity is very plausible. Because over the centuries, myths and rumors about royalty hide a truth. Those who govern tend to distance themselves from the humanity they promise to protect. Queen Elizabeth II will be remembered as the monarch who never showed weakness. But now that her reign has come to an end, the question remains, was that strength a virtue or a mask hiding the greatest secrets? To succeed in wearing the crown, this was the price of success she had to pay. And what truth caught your attention? Leave your response in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more stories like this.